All right, so welcome. It's Conversations That Convert with Rick and Diana from Builder Lead Converter. Every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling a topic on marketing and selling, remodeling projects, and new homes. And please let us know you're here and just write a comment in the comment box. And if you want to share with us what business you're in, that will be amazing. So if you have a question or thought, we'll try to get to it during this episode. And if you're watching the recording, leave a comment or question. And if we use it in a future episode, we'll make sure you get the credit. So today's topic is about help. We have too many leads. What to do with an excess of leads. So let's see how we can address that. Rick, how are you today? What's in your mind about this topic?
Well, I'm thinking about barking dogs for some reason right now. For those who don't know, Diane, right before we were doing show prep here, all of a sudden, Diana's neighbor's dog just started barking its head off. So we may have a special guest today. Who knows that we weren't planning on. So if you hear a dog barking in the background, just know that it's not Diana's dog. It's actually her neighbor's dog. So what I know, this is our second episode. I'm very happy to be here, and this is a topic that's really been on my mind lately because I talk to a whole lot of builders right now, and they are, I hear that same theme over and over again. Oh, I got too many leads. And I thought, you know what? I've been doing this a long time, and I thought, I didn't think I'd ever hear somebody say that I have too many leads, But I get it. There's supply chain issues, there are labor issues, and so we're going to talk a little bit about, okay, with the current market that it's at right now, what do you do with these excess leads? And that's really the focus today, is just to try to give you some ideas of not to let these things go to waste, because you've obviously worked very hard to get these leads, but what you can do with them right now in our current market conditions. So how are you doing today, Diana, besides your dog barking?
Well, I'm excited about this topic, and actually, I'm very good because I'm also hearing the same line. So I have too many leads, and I don't have time for marketing or sales because I'm good right now. And yeah, it's good, but we never know what the future will bring us. So I think it's good to keep in mind that that's a good period, but as when it grows, and the next step is to I don't want to say fall, but to decrease. Let's say decrease.
Right, the bubble, right? I mean, there's a potential bubble out there. Is that we've seen home prices appreciate. I don't know what it is in your area, but I think nationally 15% year over year, and in some areas it's been even more than that. So anytime you have that big increase year over year, very, very quickly, there is a potential for a bubble. And for those of you who've been around for a little while, you remember back in 2008 what happened. It's like it was like a ghost town. You couldn't give away stuff, and I mean, there's nobody buying. And so one of the things that I remember, I was talking to Diana earlier, and I said, I remember this quote is that prosperity conceals your genius and adversity reveals it. And I think right now I see a lot of builders, a lot of home improvement companies, and especially remodelers, that are really sort of acting with this prosperity attitude, like, hey, this is going to go and go and go. So, we've got some excess leads. Let's talk about what we can do about this going forward. And one of the things that I just want to try to impress upon everyone here is this: we have to stop with this bolt-on sort of today-only attitude. We have to change the way that we think about leads. And what that means is you may have come into your office today and you may have 3 leads from your website and your phone. You've got some phone messages or people are texting you, and it's like you're thinking like, man, I can't even keep up. I'm just gonna live for today, and I've got plenty of business in my pipeline, and I'm gonna maybe just not call these people back or snub them or just tell them we're too busy, go find somebody else. I see that attitude there, and it's like, you know what? I think you really have to have an attitude of where you're really blessed to have these opportunities. And I'll give you a case in point. So Diana, you do a lot of advertising for us, and we were setting up some ads for one of our clients, and we have certain criteria when we run these ads where we qualify them. And so the disqualified leads we send to a certain, give a certain message, and the qualified leads we give a certain message. So this client I was talking to, he said, for years, I used to tell people, sorry, we don't do that type of project, or we don't serve that area, or maybe I don't go below a certain price point. And he goes, and people get really upset at me. And, I'm just trying to save them some time and me some time. And he goes, what happened is, and I changed things up, and I said, I'm going to actually refer them to somebody else and say, sorry, I don't do that type of project, or I don't work in that price point. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer them to somebody else. And he said people's attitudes changed completely. And so he just started thinking differently about how he was handling these disqualified leads. Now, the other option, of course, if you get a disqualified lead, the way instead of saying, oh, you're done, kick them to the curb, is to say, hey, you know what? Maybe they don't qualify today, but maybe they might qualify in 6 months from now, or a year from now. Perhaps it's just a price objection. We've seen this huge increase in pricing because of material prices and some labor increases. So prices have gone up very quickly. Sometimes that's just those people, they need more time to mature to the market. And so I think just thinking about leads right now is that they may not be ready right now. They may not be qualified right now, but a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, even 2 years from now, they may be ready. And so I think that's what it comes down to, is taking a long-term approach. No, Diana, I know you're running a lot of ads for us, like Facebook and Google, and you're seeing a fair amount of leads come through. But I know that a certain percentage of those, maybe, I don't know, what is it, 40-50% might be disqualified from the price points. Does that sound right?
Yes, that's true, but it's important to keep the consistency and do your work and work for your future. So and keep the mindset that you will consolidate your awareness, and when the right moment will come, they will know you, and they will know what you're doing, and then to panic and say, oh, what I will do when I will not have so many leads.
Right. Yeah. And so I think that's a good point. You have these leads right now, they might be disqualified, but instead of just kicking them to the curb, is, you always got to keep in mind is that your next sale isn't normally your most recent lead. So you might be selling somebody now that you've been working with for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. It might have been someone that disappeared that came in last year and they decided to do their project this year. So that long-term approach to leads, I always look at it as, hey, would you have somebody coming in the door and says, hey, I'm ready, willing, and able. Here's my plans. Give me a bid. Or would you rather have somebody that you meet that is just beginning the process, that you are able to have a dialogue with over, say, 5-6 months, or maybe even 1 to 2 years, depending on the type of services that you offer. And when you look at it, it's like most of the time when you make a sale, it's somebody that you've had a relationship with. Now maybe it's a referral at that point, or it's obviously a second time client. That's where it's built in, but the trust is built in. But normally it's a long-term relationship, and so that long-term approach is so important. So you have these in excess of leads today. Instead of just throwing them away or not being responsive to them, is that even if you cannot fulfill the job today, like let's say, and I know some of you are in this position, you've shut down sales. Guess what? There's still a viable opportunity for the future. And so even if you've got a backlog of work for months, sometimes more than a year, is that you want to take a long-term approach and keep that person around, because they don't have a whole lot of options right now. So if you're not going to build for them, it's not like they're going to run out and buy a home, because there's so few on the market. And even from a design, build, remodeling standpoint, a lot of remodelers are really backed up too. So this project that they want to do this year and maybe a next year project, and guess what, your schedule is going to be freed up. So that long-term approach is so important to take. Which leads us to something I call backlog and nurture, and this is really the heart of the matter. With backlog and nurture, in that if you have an excess of leads, you want to start focusing on creating a lead backlog. Now we're going to talk this month a lot about what to do with these leads and how that relates to design if you offer design services, and then how that relates to production. And in an ideal world, your production is going to dictate your sales. So in other words, you can start so many homes per month, or you can start so many projects per week. That should dictate your sales, and then from your sales team, it creates urgency. So you have to start backlogging everything, and it starts with leads. I want to get a backlog of leads. Case in point, I was talking to a builder the other day and said, hey, you know what? We're not doing any pre-sales. We've got specs on the ground. But we want to, they were continuing to backlog leads. And then what you do is you nurture them. And by nurturing them, is pretty much just keeping up to date with them and market updates right now. So probably every couple of weeks, you want to be communicating with these folks and just letting them know what's happening. So if you have new lots that you're releasing, or let's say you're working through your production schedule where you're going to have some new openings, if you have a backlog of leads, you can create urgency. In that, if let's say you have 2 production openings for a certain week, and you have a backlog of 50 leads, you get to email those leads or reach out to those leads and say, okay, who wants these slots? And then you create urgency to get them in there. So I have a vacation rental business as well, and so we went from, in 2020, when everything got shut down with COVID, we were empty. I mean, we had almost 2 months of no bookings, none. I mean, literally, I was pulling my hair out. I thought, what's going to happen? Because as the bank account keeps dwindling, as the expenses are still there, but we don't have the revenue coming in, I thought, what the heck is happening? Well, then, just by default, when a lot of states started shutting down travel, and we're near the Canadian border, and Canada shut down the border, all of a sudden, everyone was going stir crazy by being stuck at home, and they wanted to get out. So guess what? We had this tremendous amount of demand, not only from our own database, but from new business. And so what I was able to do is I was able to not only sell a lot of people that had already visited, so this would be a second, third, fourth time visitor, but I had this new demand coming here. So because I had built up solid reviews, on my rentals, so people would look at the reviews, I had good photos, and I had a database of people that wanted to come anyway, I was able to raise my rates. So we went from our worst year ever, the beginning of 2020, to our best year ever. We were up 30% year over year. But it was all the work that I had done previous to that. It was just dumb luck, okay? I just done things right. And I had built up reviews, and I had good photos, and I had taken care of the customer. It was just dumb luck that we got there. But 30% up year over year from our worst spring to our best year. So we're in a very similar situation right now too, where we have this great demand for home improvement services. And what are you doing to take advantage of the demand that you have right now, so that in 2022 and 2023 and beyond, you're going to take and you're going to leverage these opportunities and to drive business down the road. So that's all about backlog and nurture. And it's something that you should be doing right now. So if you get nothing else out of this little snippet of talking about dealing with too many leads, is that do everything you can to create that list. You want to segment that list, which means you want to categorize it. So if you have certain services you provide, make sure you're categorizing it that way. If you have certain locations you're selling, categorize them that way. And then just nurture those people every couple of weeks. What's going on with production, when you're going to start selling again, when your production opens up and you can start taking new business, and bring them in. And again, scarcity creates urgency. So if you have a big backlog and you have a limited number of slots where you can actually produce something, that's great for business. So Diana, that's pretty much our show today. Any last thoughts from you? I don't know if you heard me, Diana. Any last thoughts from you on the show? Or she might be. I think Diana's actually having some internet issues. So while she does that, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen next week. So we're going to go into increasing your average sales price and profitability next week. And just like I did with my vacation rentals, like I mentioned, you know, we had heavy demand. I had a good base of business built up, and then I was able to increase my prices. So we're much more profitable, and we actually extended our stays. So instead of going from a 2 or 3 night stay, now we have longer stays throughout the year. So that's it for this week for Conversations That Convert. Thanks so much for joining us. And remember, the replay will be on YouTube and Facebook. And leave us a comment, leave us a question. We'd love to use it for a future episode. We'll see you next Thursday.